A lot of questions, a lot of answers. Let me mute this. It's 1:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, a very late card. That's Tszyu's woman. She was screaming all night. Very late into a card here in the States. Well, the fight took place over in Australia, but it was broadcast here on Showtime starting at 10:30 p.m. Eastern. It's now 1:30 a.m. Sunday morning. I've been here covering boxing. Here's the punch stats, by the way, if you want to pause it. I've been here since noon, 13 and a half hours covering boxing since the KSI Tommy Fury, Logan Paul, Dylan Danis card. But let's talk about the 154-pound division. I still feel I would give Tszyu a slight edge over Jermell Charlo, mostly because of I don't know how Jermell Charlo is going to come back after the domination he had against Canelo. And he's made a lot of money. He's had some layoffs. He's coming back down in weight. I would give Tszyu the edge. Tszyu, by the way, is now the full official 154-pound champion WBO. Once Jermell Charlo stepped into the ring, my fucking mustache is curling up into my nose. Once Charlo stepped into the ring against Canelo, he became the full WBO champion, meaning Tszyu. And tonight was the first time he defended the full championship. And basically, yeah, he was an email champion, let's be honest. Very methodical, very always cautious and poised, controlled fighter. He did get hit a lot in this fight. I would say, before looking at his resume, off the top of my head, this could be the toughest performance of his career so far at this level. Brian Mendoza was tagging him up. It's just that the constant pressure of Tszyu, and he's not known to be really a counter puncher. He's more of a burst type of puncher. I mean, not a counter puncher. He's not throwing like 5, 6, 7 punch combinations unless he has you in some type of trouble. In this case, I'm interested to read the cards, by the way. They're going to be reading the cards soon. In this case, he was always in control, even if he wasn't necessarily active in the rounds that Mendoza won. It still was like Tim was in control. Let's turn it up, listen to the cards. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.
Judge at ringside, Adam Height scores about 116 to 111. Steve Gray sees it 116 to 112, and Katsuhiko Nakamura scores about 117 to 111. All three in favor of the unanimous decision winner, and he is still the undefeated WBO Super Welterweight Champion of the World, the Soul Taker,
Another thing, before we listen to the post-fight interview, there's a lot of empty seats up in there. Tszyu is saying that, and let me mute it real quick. Tszyu, this is supposed to be his last fight in Australia, and he's going to be fighting over in Vegas, likely against, we'll talk about it. I got some ideas.
Being a world champion, but now that you've won a fight, you've defended your belt, do you feel different?
Charlo, where you at? Where you at, buddy?
What do you think Jermell Charlo would have thought watching that performance?
He'll probably, in his delusional head, he'll probably think that he's going to beat me. Come get it. Come get it.
Do you think he will come get it?
Yeah, for sure, man. He fought Canelo, man. Best pound-for-pound fighter in the world, you know. And I think now, let's prove he is the best 154, but let's prove it to everyone who is really the king of the division.
A word on Brian Mendoza, because you hit him with everything.
Man, he's tough, he's crafty, he's slick, he's got power. He's world class for a reason, you know. He's just behind me.
What did you set out to do here today? Because we saw uppercuts and left hooks. It seemed that you knew the punches that were going to get him.
Have some fun in there and perform for everyone here. Simple, man. I told ya, it's my last hooray. And we finished off with a bang. Hopefully, we can go to Vegas all together.
Well, the word for not only the people of the Gold Coast who've embraced you, but Australia, who's been on this journey with you since the beginning, and particularly in recent years. Just tell everyone what it means to you.
It's unbelievable, man. I've got a pack of lions with me, all the boys at training camp, all the boys behind in my team, all my sponsors, and fucking everyone here. Every single person in Australia. The support's been unreal. Thank you to all my day ones.
Congratulations, Tszyu. You are and you remain the world champion.
See you all in Vegas.
Tszyu.
That's his girlfriend, the screaming lady. She was screaming. I think somebody probably told her during the broadcast, like, hey, they can hear you. You need to shut that shit up. So before I bring in my colleague Big J, let me say this. By the way, this is the Showtime team I was watching. Here are the scorecards. 116, 112, 116, 111, 117, 111. I'm not sure about Tszyu's marketability over here in the States. I mean, he's a relative unknown here in the States unless you're staying up to 1:30 in the morning to watch him on Showtime. Here is Steve Farhood's card. Best round for Brian Mendoza was round number 6, in my personal opinion. So his next fight is going to be in the States. He wants to be in Vegas. I think that they should put on a card with Jamel Charlo versus IBF champion Bakhram Murtazalia, because he's got the defend his title. And the IBF has ordered that fight. And put Tszyu in the undercard against possibly Erickson Lubin. I think that makes sense. And then you can build up them two fighting each other, and then at least it would be for all of the belts still, because the WBC hasn't stripped Charlo. He still has got his WBC. The WBA, they're a trash organization, you know, so they just want to keep the money. They ain't gonna strip him. He had to lose his WBO. Mendoza was the WBC mandatory because he was the interim. So Charlo doesn't have a mandatory right now for the WBC or the WBA. So if he fights Bakhram Murtazalia, if he doesn't let the money get to his head and he still wants to fight, pretty much, they can fight. He didn't take no damage because he ran all night against Canelo. So, you know, put it together for, you know, February. January, February, no later than March. You know, shit, that's too late. It's fucking October. You know, February. You know, Charlo versus Murtazalia for the 3 belts. And then the winner of that fights Tszyu, and then boom, undisputed. Charlo can be a 2-time undisputed. You know, you know, and that's the fight to make, especially since he's already announced he's going back down to 154. But let me bring my colleague Big J in. By the way, Sam Goodman looked really good tonight, 122-pound contender. Take your time out, like the video, subscribe. I would rate Tim's performance. Let's see. What would I rate his performance? I would give his performance a 8 out of 10, mostly because of defensively. He was getting tagged up. This was the most you've seen him get hit at on this level. However, he is getting, you can say, even though this was his toughest performance, he is getting better. Let's go rate it real quick. Tougher performance than obviously Castano, Tony Harrison, Terrell Goucher. Terrell Goucher dropped him, but he completely dominated after that. Didn't get hit with no clean punches. Stevie Spark, better performance. Dennis Hogan, Bowen Morgan, Jeff Horn, Jack Brubaker. By far, I think you can say, I mean, Takashi Inoue, he was constant pressure but wasn't doing anything. But when it comes to Brian Mendoza, like this was a tough fight. And Tony Harrison, you can look at those cards and say it was a close fight, but Harrison was just jabbing, just jabbing, just jabbing and moving. He wasn't throwing that right hand at all. I remember that. But when it comes to Tszyu, by the way, he's finally talked about moving up. He's saying sometime in the next year he's going to be moving up to 160. So this is the first time during this fight week he actually talked about moving up in weight. But that's a dead division. I talked about it in the video before this about how Janjabek Alimhanallah, who's now the IBF and WBO champion, it's political shit going on with Jamal Charlo, Lindy Lara, Carlos Adames. It's a different side of the street if you follow me politically. But Alimhanallah could fight Carlos Adames if Jamal Charlo finally moves up to 168 pounds after the Jose Benavidez Jr. fight on November the 25th. Then that can be at least 3 belts that Tszyu, depending on what happens at 154, could possibly move up to fight for at 160 pounds if Alimhanallah is still there. But 154 and 160, it's really confusing right there, especially with what's going on with Spence and Crawford. Their rematch, and if that's going to be at 154, and if they're both going to be at 154 and not retiring anytime soon. Let's listen to Big J. Hold on. Listen to Big J. Yeah, we're live.
A methodical performance from Tszyu. I mean, he was composed, he was excellent. He broke him down over 12 rounds, but he didn't get the knockout. And I think that he really needed the knockout in that fight. And I thought he let Brian Mendoza off the hook about 3 or 4 times. Excuse me. And you know exactly what Charlo's going to say. He goes, oh, that was shit, blah, 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 blah. But you can just see what Charlo's going to say about it. So, yeah, he needed the knockout win because obviously that was a very methodical, well-composed defeat of Brian Mendoza. But I mean, he needed that knockout to really, be a threat to Charlo. Well, to Charlo to think that, oh, yeah, okay, he's really a threat. I feel that Tszyu is going to be like Devin Haney. He won't get his credit until he's undisputed because Devin Haney was an email champ, defended it, 4 or 5 times, and then fought George. Mm. So that's the way I think it's going to go. Until he fights Charlo, Tszyu's not going to get what he deserves. So. That's my opinion.
Do you feel after Mendoza that your opinion changed on how Tszyu would do against Charlo?
No. Because I feel Tszyu is like a viper. He only attacks him when he feels threatened. Mm-hmm. You can see that. Half the time, it was like playing Mortal Kombat 2. Mendoza hit him 50 times. Tszyu hit him 3 times and belted the crap out of him. Yeah. So it's like when you get to King Taro or Shiro Khan. You might hit him 50 times, that does nothing, it just goes bang. And every time Tszyu hit him, he rocked him. That
can catch up to Tszyu, though, because, there was a lot of close rounds early. And against Charlo, who's a better fighter than Mendoza, there's some questions there. Now, I'm still giving Tszyu the edge, mostly because of what we talked about how, he's got that payday now, the layoffs, then he's going back down in weight.
Well, the thing is with Charlo is that Tszyu's not next. Bakram Matazaliev is because the IBF finally ordered that fight.
Yeah. I talked about that earlier about here's the idea I think. I think that because Charlo's not a real big marketable name over here in the States, that fight was only big because of Canelo. Tszyu, I have concerns about him coming over to the States and being able to sell because even if you look at this supposedly last fight that he's supposed to have in Australia, I saw a lot of curtained off seats up at the top.
That's...
Go ahead.
That's the thing. I mean, Tszyu's not going to be a marketable person in Vegas. I don't think that... I think he's better off. He doesn't need to go to Vegas. What for? He's the world champion. He only wants to go to Vegas because his dad fought there. Well, bugger that. Yeah, he would make more money and would be more successful fighting in Australia than what he does. He doesn't need to go to Vegas. I think
it's a risky move, especially since, for example, to see him over here, it's 1:45 a.m. You know, and
Exactly.
and Showtime boxing ratings have been dwindling mostly because people are watching Showtime content through the apps on demand. So, you know, it's not like you're getting the massive exposure that you was 5, 6 years ago fighting on Showtime. You know, because it's not, the ratings are so low now. And if he were to come over, to get back to my original point, if he were to come over, he has to constantly fight. Like, he can't just fight a Brian Mendoza in the States and be a main event and fill out an arena. I doubt he can sell 5,000 tickets over here, if I'm being honest. You know, fighting a Mendoza. So I'm thinking that they should have Charlo versus Murtazaliev on a card with Tszyu and Lubin as the co-feature, or Tszyu as somebody, and
that
then
would
build
make-
it up. Because see, what would happen is the WBC, since Jamel Charlo was still the WBC champion, Mendoza was as mandatory, so that frees up some time. The
that's
WBA
right.
is not going to strip him. All he has to do is fight Bakram Murtazaliev, we talked about before. That'll be like a comeback fight for him to shake off some cobwebs after fighting Canelo and getting back used to 154 again. Getting to finish IBF title, then he can fight Tszyu, or the winner of Tszyu Lubin, because it would be a rematch for Lubin if he gets Charlo, which, you know, that's a storyline
That's right.
there. You know, but if they fight on the same card, you can have Jamel Charlo versus Tszyu no later than this time next year. You know, because
Exactly.
because since Charlo didn't take no damage fighting Canelo running around the ring, there's no reason why he can't be back in January, February, no later than March. And then him and Tszyu
Exactly.
in the same card, and then they fight for undisputed. That way Charlo can have a chance to be two-time undisputed by this time next year, and Tszyu can be on his way to undisputed. Also, if you didn't hear, earlier this week, Tszyu finally addressed he plans on moving up in weight sometime in the next year.
No, I didn't hear that. So
Yeah.
yeah, he's planning to move up to middleweight. Okay, fair enough. Fair
And
enough.
that's a dead
And,
division.
Yeah, well, that's a division he could easily conquer. So, what happened with the unification bout today? What happened there? I didn't watch.
I talked about it earlier in the video. Jinzabek Alimhanullah dominated and defeated Vincenzo Gualtieri. Dude didn't throw no punches, similar to Dylan Danis today. I think he threw something like or landed something like maybe 25 punches through like 6 rounds. Some old bullshit. Why it was like he didn't come to fight. He did not come to fight. But this dude, Alimhanullah, he's pretty good, and he could be Tszyu's rival at 160 next year, and that could be another undisputed shot for him at 160. But right now, 154, I'm really interested. See, it all depends on what Charlo's going to do, you know, because I get concerned about PBC
It's always
fighters.
dependent on what Charlo wants to do.
Yeah, I get concerned about PBC fighters because it's a known history that when they take a loss, the big ones, when they take a loss, they're off, even if it's no injury, for up to a year and longer. You know, so
That's right. Well, as the IBF said, they've got to make an agreement by November 9, or it goes to purse bid.
yeah,
So, and I certainly hope that Charlo doesn't fuck around with this, because poor old Bakram Murtazaliev has waited almost 4 years for his shot now.
yeah.
So I certainly hope that they don't screw him. But if they can't come to an agreement, I hope the IBF strip his ass, and then Tszyu and Murtazaliev can fight for a
Yeah, and
unification
I
bout.
think that's the perfect fight for Charlo to come back to. You know, and then he gets to hold on to his belt, but also that belt is very important to PBC as well, since they're trying to, you know, like get a new deal and everything. So I'm pretty sure Al Heyman is probably going to be pushing for him to go like, hey, you know, like hold on to your belt, champ, because you still got, you know, another couple of paydays out there you can get, especially if, let's say, for example, if Terrence Crawford goes on to beat Spence again and he changes his mind and says, okay, you know what? Charlo got his belt back. He kept his IBF and he got his belt back from Tszyu. I'm going to fight him. You know, so there's incentive for Charlo to get back into the ring as soon as possible, because that Crawford payday for both both Charlo and Tszyu are out there. Because if Tszyu even captures all of the belts, I can see Crawford fighting him then. Not like I don't see Crawford fighting him just for one belt. I see Crawford fighting him if it's going to be for Undisputed. But also, the WBO had a convention the other day where I watched it, and they're waiting for Terrence Crawford to tell them if he wants to be Tim Tszyu's mandatory or not. So it's up to Terrence Crawford. They're literally waiting for a word from Terrence Crawford. They're not going to order the fight until Terrence Crawford says so.
There's a lot of moving pieces on the chessboard, that's for sure.
Yeah, so you know, we should have some clarity. Well, definitely. Well, let me tell you what. If that purse bid gets postponed, which they often do on November the 9th, then we know we got something coming. You know, that'll be a good sign that Charlo's trying to fight Murtazaliev.
Yeah, I really hope they just get in there and get it done. So there's no mucking around. Yeah, because you know the dangerous fight is the active fight. I mean, Tim's fought 3 times this year.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I don't think he'll fight again. He won't fight again by the end of the year. So he's in prime to ready to go to fight late January, early February. Like he should have like this year. He was supposed to fight January 27th this year. So he's primed to go again right around Australia Day. So,
yeah, that makes sense, and I'm sure they got to have some type of plan, and I think just the Lubin fight, that just, you know, as I'm looking, that makes the most sense. Even if it's not Lubin, even if he fights Jesus Ramos, the guy who was supposed to win, but the Lubin fight, because he got the win, that personally makes the most sense to me.
And it doesn't. Here's why: because Charlo fought him. So he knocked him out in the round. So Tszyu will be like, mate, could I get him in quick? How quick did Charlo knock out Lubin?
Round, like seconds.
Well, Tim Tszyu needs to go, well, maybe I can up him one. If he got him in 75, I'll knock him out in 60. Yeah, so there you go. So, you know, I think it would be good for Tszyu to go after Lubin and say, well, you know, you beat him and so did I. So it gives people a little bit of comparison of the two. Yeah. Before they fight. But yeah, definitely, as you said, they've got to appear on the same card. It just then the fight builds itself.
They can sell
the story writes itself. Like, yeah, they can sell it. Then they have to do it. They have to be on the same card. You know, it's like when Mundine. Yeah, sorry, it's like when Mundine Green fought. They fought on the same card before they fought each other to build the fight. So.
Yeah, because I can't see Tszyu right now carrying. Or doing any major damage here in the States without a major dancing partner, and for him to headline a card, even if he headlines against Lubin, that's going to be a tough sell for tickets, man. You know, he would have to rely on the Aussies to travel for him, and I'm just not. I just don't see him being there yet, having that cult following just yet, especially for the way his ticket sales have been somewhat dwindling. You know, and his buzz has been somewhat, you know, dwindling. They got to get that magic back.
Well, exactly. I mean, to be perfectly honest, Charlo versus Tszyu is a bigger fight in Australia. Far bigger.
I think so,
Far
too.
bigger fight than what it'd be in the States. So Charlo and PBC and Al Homey need to swallow their pride and come to Australia where they're going to get more ticket sales and more
get that money. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, boxing at the end of the day is a business. As my old man always said, you got to go where the money is. This is where the money is. It's as simple as that.
But it's going to be the principle of, you know, like, I got 3 belts. I'm not coming to your country, you know, and I can understand that. That makes sense.
Yeah, well, Devin Haney came here twice and worked out fine for him.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So,
can't argue with that.
Yeah, exactly. So.
And he made a lot of money, too. Like, a lot of money. For to be pay-per-view over here and have free TV over here in the States. Wild. Closing thoughts? Oh, by the way, what are your thoughts on Sam Goodman? He looked really good tonight.
He did look really good. I mean, old mate must have hit him in the balls about 3 times, but he needs, like Tim Tszyu tonight, it was a good methodical win, but he needs that knockout. Because I think that you're right. The only way he's going to get a title is when Inoue takes care of old mate and he moves up and he'll fight for a vacant one. Because at that world level, you need that knockout power, and Sam just doesn't seem to have it. Yeah, he knocked old mate down.
He knocked him down. I thought if he could have went, if he would have went for it, I think he could have got him out of there. You know, he let him off the hook a couple of times.
Yeah, same with Tim, with Brian. He let him off the hook 3-4 times. So, yeah, when you get to that top level, you need to have that, you know, one punch knockout power. Tim's got it, but Sam Goodman certainly doesn't have it. And on the other undercard, Nathaniel May. Sorry, no, not Nathaniel May. Jackson England got an excellent fight against Nathaniel May, and they're talking about Jackson England fighting Liam Wilson. Why in God's name would they do that? Well, I mean, Jackson England is on the cusp of top ranking 15, where Liam Wilson's been there. Why would he want to? There's 40 other guys Liam Wilson could fight instead of Jackson England. I don't think they should entertain that fight because it won't give Liam Wilson any status to go after another world title. I mean, there's Oscar Vazdell. There's who else is in the? I looked at the rankings before.
Yeah,
guys.
I get what you're saying. There are other fights that can be made instead of having them two fight each other, especially when you can build them both up.
Exactly.
Go their own paths.
Exactly. So,
but since we're running low on time, closing thoughts.
Wade Ryan got a good win. Good to see Wade Ryan get up on the prelims, a 10-round decision. Chanel Dargan, as she won the Australian super bantamweight female thing. As I said, the girls beat the shit out of each other. All around good card, but I really wanted Tim to get that knockout. But good methodical performance by Tim, and you couldn't really see any real holes in his game. It's just that I think he just needs to be that little bit more aggressive and finish it off. I mean, I would rate that probably a 7 out of 10. Like, it wasn't as good as the Harrison fight because he finished Harrison off.
Okay.
So, but still a solid defense for his first world title. First world title fight. Yeah, solid. But he needed that. It's not going to set the world on fire because he needed that knockout. He needed that knockout. I think he should have got him out of there around 7 or 8.
Yeah.
So.
And by round 7 or 8, Mendoza pretty much just stopped throwing punches because he was scared to get countered.
Exactly. So, I mean, and Charlo, he's just going to go, he'll just completely dismiss it as, okay, whatever. Yeah. So, I mean, you're sort of doing yourself out of business because if you want that Charlo fight, you've got to think that people are going to be, okay, well, this could be interesting. People are going to be like, I'm thinking, the international fans are going to go, okay, you got a 12-round win over old mate that was never really at that level. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, solid win, but nothing that's going to set the world on fire.
Yeah.
So.
All right. With that being said, take your time out, like the video, subscribe, follow me on Twitter at TstreeT Controversy and Big J at Old Mate Big J. Also, sometime in the next week, we're going to do another Aussie boxing podcast and wrap up everything in more detail. With what's going on with the Australian boxing scene, and hopefully we'll have some news on what's going on with George Kambosos. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. It is 2 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. They got to get better with making these cards earlier here in the States because this is not doing Tszyu any justice when you got to wake up or you got to be up to 1 o'clock in the morning to see a guy who they're trying to make a star here in the States. It just doesn't make sense. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.